In this video, we're going to replace the brake hoses on the Subaru Sambar. Alright, so what I needed to do was to get some brake hoses custom made, and the reason for that is, yes, you can import them from Japan, but the problem in Australia is that to get the vehicle engineered or even blue slipped for registration, you need to have Australian standard hoses on there. Specifically like the white stripe on there. The ones you import from Japan don't have any printing on them. So these are all certified and made in Australia for Australian vehicles. So the brake place I used is a place in Wollongong, which is south of Sydney. But there would be lots of places that can actually make it, and I'll put a link in there to their website in the description. But a lot of places can actually just manufacture these hoses. It's not like a specialized thing. So the hoses, the ones that go on the rear, they're similar length, but the fittings are different. Fitting on that end is the same, but then one side needs a different fitting. The ones for the front are identical. It's only the rear ones which are different. So let's get started on this now. Alright, so we're on the right hand rear of the vehicle now. So what actually needs to happen is we need to undo this fixing and then the fixing over here as well. And then just replace the hose. Fluid is going to come out, but if we do this quickly, it shouldn't be an issue. So we'll undo this clip here, and then the other bracket has a similar clip as well. That should just free it all up. We don't need a disconnect to the actual drum. Right, we'll start by just removing these clips because they are what just hold the cable in place. And the other one will probably be easier if I just go underneath and do it. Alright, so what I've done, I've just sprayed some WD-40 on that fitting just to help it come undone. So you're going to need to use an open flare spanner. That's a 10mm, and what I want to do is just make sure we get them both loosened, and then I'll sort of go underneath and do the other one. Alright, so what I had to end up doing is taking the main brake pipe out, and the reason for that is I just could not get the flare fitting or the fitting off here. So what I've done, I've put a new flare on there, a new fitting, because the old one, the head of it just wore flat, just trying to undo it. So with that on there now, pipe is slightly shorter because it takes up room to make the new flare, but there should be enough length in it, but we'll figure that out in a second. So I just need to thread this back in, and then we'll see how we go. Alright, so that was a pain. Well, it wasn't too bad. It's just done loosely with the spanner now, so that new hose is in place. And what I need to do is just put these clips back in. That will allow me to tighten them up. And I just need to tap that with a little small hammer to get in, and then tighten up these fittings to make sure it does not leak. Alright, so I'll just leave the right hand side now. I've sprayed it down with brake cleaner, and we will just check if it's leaking. This whole system needs to be re-bled. Alright, so over onto the left hand side, let's take a look at this. So the hose for the left hand side, you notice I showed you earlier that it is different. So that end is the same as the other side. This end here screws into the T piece, which leads off to the other side. So I'll loosen up this one first, because that end will be easier. Once it cracks loose, it's easy from then onwards. But I'll just loosen it a bit. Then we can take out this. And then I'll just use a spanner to undo the end near the T-piece. Okay, so that's loose. What I want to do is undo this fitting completely. Take out the cable or the hose and then unwind it. I do have a tray underneath to catch all of these drips. Alright, let's get the new one in. I think we might have completely drained the brake system now, because nothing's coming out, but that's okay. Alright, I'll just keep tightening that in. Alright, so I've tightened that up, and we'll just need to do this end of the brake hose now. Just hand tighten it and then use the spanner. Alright, I need to put that clip back in to hold it in place. Alright, I'll need to top up the brake fluid and then just let it sit and then just see if these parts leak. Spray that down with brake cleaner. Alright, so that's the rear done. Alright, so now we are ready to replace the front brake hoses. These hoses are identical on each side. There's a banjo bolt down here, the same connector like what was at the back up here, and then there's a bolt that holds it onto the strut. So the first bit we will try and do is just crack open that fitting and this one down here. Actually, we'll undo this one here first, the one that holds it onto the strut. That's just a bolt that holds that one on. Alright, so the bolt that holds this hose to the main strut is a 12mm. Alright, so that just comes loose like that. The thread is actually on that brake hose piece, the bracket. Alright, let's try undoing the top now. Alright, so likewise the same with the rear. When I did the rear, I just want to crack these open a bit. because once both ends are loosened, it's quicker to change the hose, do them back up, without making too much of a mess with the fluid. So we don't want to damage this fitting, so I don't want to have to take out that brake line and put a new flange on it. Okay, there we go. Right, that's cracked loose, and now I just need to do the banjo bolt down the bottom. Alright, so the fitting that holds that on, it's a like a banjo bolt. So that bolt comes undone. There should be a copper washer on either side of that, and I'll just show you the replacement. So that's what the replacement one looks like. So hopefully the angle is correct. So let's try and get that one loose and then see how we go. Alright, so that is a 14mm bolt. Alright, let's see if this has got enough strength to undo that. Okay, let's hold the drip pan under there because that's going to want to go. So I'll just tighten it up for a second. Get my rag ready, and then what I want to do is just loosen both ends, put the new cable in. Alright, so the replacement hoses, the brake place that made them up, they actually went to the effort to give me the actual copper washers as well. Normally when you buy stuff like this, they never come with it. Okay, so I will undo this top one. I'll take out that retaining clip. Okay, that end is loose. I'll just let that dangle in the bucket. And that top end will just keep dripping. We can undo this end now without it making a mess, and we'll just see where the copper washers are here. Interesting, there's none there. There's only one at the top. Alright, so I'll put 2 copper washers on, just to try it, and then we'll see what happens. Alright, so the last part is just to tighten that up. Just need to put that clip back in that holds it. Alright, just for the record, there were 2 washers either side of that banjo bolt. It was just really stuck on there really hard. So you do need a washer each side. Alright, so we've got the vehicle bled now, and I've sort of left it here for a while just to make sure there's no leaks coming from any of those hoses. So the next stage now is just to put all the wheels back on, lower it down, and then we are good. Alright, I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching my videos.